How to maximize my power after being ghosted after a first date that ended with a heavy kiss.
Say that again.
How to maximize my power after being ghosted after a first date that ended with a heavy kiss.
Well, those things. The other thing you got to understand about that is that shit is going to happen. Sometimes you'll go out and a girl will be all over you, and you're like, "This is amazing," and then, poof, you never hear from her again, or you can never get her out on a date again. Sometimes you'll hook up with a girl and she won't stick around very long, especially if the sex wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are just, you got to charge it to the game. And, one is no choice, two is a dilemma, three is a choice. So, especially for a guy learning this stuff, learning to date and seduce women, it's best if you have at least three different women or more that you're talking to or meeting because they're going to be in various stages of attraction and interest. And plus, when guys are young, they're inexperienced. They don't know how to date. They don't know when to go for the kiss. They don't know what to talk about or how to handle themselves. And so they've got to learn these things, got to learn these skills.
Yeah.
They got to learn the stuff that's in the book. And then they got to actually go and talk to and interact with women, go out on dates, look for the signs that she's ready to be touched and seduced and kissed, and slowly progress things
Mm-hmm.
to that point. And the
Yeah.
more experience they have, they realize that some women are going to really be into them and make it pretty easy. Other women are not that into them, but over time they become more interested. And then there's other women that are interested, but they're kind of screwballs, and
Yeah.
they don't react normal. They may be structured. They do things that are unpredictable when you get real close. They may have attachment issues, and they may dip out and disappear and stay away a lot longer
Mm-hmm.
than normal women stay away. And so you have to deal with all that stuff. I was talking to a guy last night doing a phone session with him, and this girl he was dating would she'd just get kind of mad and stonewall him, or she was upset. They were driving home one night, and he's like, "What's going on?" And she just would not open up. She would not tell him what's going on,
Right.
and she would give him a silent. He wouldn't hear from her for 3 or 4 days, and she
Mm-hmm.
would just kind of be angry about it. And so she made things very difficult. And he was like, "Hey, what's wrong, babe?"
Yeah.
She just would be evasive and wouldn't tell him. It's like she was doing it to purposely punish him, to
Mm-hmm.
not make it easy to work things out. And it's because that's what she learned in her family.
Right.
If kids are going to emulate what the parents demonstrate for them, whatever example they're shown, and what she saw was, hey, when somebody screws you over, you're going to fucking pay for it. They're going to ignore you and not talk to you until they feel like you've suffered enough.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was like saying, he's like, man, I've dated other girls, and when you go, hey, what's wrong, they just go blah, 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 and
Yeah.
they tell you. And that's what easygoing, easy to get along with is like. They just tell you when you ask them.
Yeah.
Women are like, I don't want to talk about it. And they're just difficult, and they hang up on you, or they give you the silent treatment, or they don't want to talk or see you for a few days. It's you emotionally when you're in a relationship and somebody puts your relationship on hold for 3 or 4 days. You're like, are we going to break up? Are we together? Do I have a girlfriend?
Right.
Are we going to work this out?
Mm-hmm.
And days are going by, and if you're trying to focus on your purpose and your mission, and now your relationship is up in the air because your girl created a problem that didn't exist just because that's the way she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other girls that are out there that are just, hey, what's wrong, babe? And she'll tell you, and you work through it, and you get right past it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular guy's case, girl's super hot, sex is like the best he's ever had,
Mm-hmm.
but trying to communicate and work out differences is a fucking nightmare. There was like multiple instances of just simple innocuous things turning into a big deal where it made the whole next week of their relationship just fucking hell
Yeah.
because she did that. She made things that way. And he tried talking to her, and it was what I was pointing out was like, that's the way she is, man. You've tried, you set the boundary, she doesn't respect it. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same way she talks to her own father. It's like, you either are going to put up with it and know that the hot body and the hot sex is great, but you're going to have to put up with you know lost weeks, if you will,
Right.
where you're just not going to be getting along and not talking. And I was like, I wouldn't want to put up with that,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're used to women that make things easy and you just talk it out, and because lots of shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's life, and you don't want a girl that's constantly throwing roadblocks and and expecting you to jump through your butt and just make things difficult just because
Right.
she wants you to suffer. It's good women are not gonna want to see you suffer. They're gonna want to get past it and get back to having fun together.
Yeah, like I understand taking some time to like think and like level yourself because obviously sometimes in the heat of the moment you're going to say things you're going to regret. So it's good to like sit down and think logically and rationalize. But to go hours or days without talking to him is a little juvenile for me. And I feel like the prettiest girls are the ones with the most issues too. Like,
I have found this to be true.
yeah.
The
So,
hotter they are, it's like the hot crazy matrix.
yeah.
Because they're, the hotter and the prettier girls are, the more you're jaded by society, the more you're allowed to get away with bullshit. Because most guys are so thirsty, they'll put up with it. And
Yeah.
whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. And most men are willing to tolerate a lot of bullshit from women. And,
Hmm.
if if guys in general are weak enough to let women get away with it, then the women are going to keep doing it just because that's in their nature. It's in their nature to test strength. They
Right.
don't like weakness. If you're displaying weakness, you're going to get treated like a doormat.
Hmm. Well, it's good that he reached out and he's trying to figure out that situation between that girl.
Yeah, he was really relieved after
Hmm.
we went through it because he couldn't see it. He couldn't see that because he really likes, is really super infatuated by her. She's like one of the hottest girls he's ever been with. He's like, she's total 10, sex is fucking best ever.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the benefits of me coaching people is that they're in it. Their emotions are wrapped up, so they can't really see it, and they're suffering tremendously.
Yeah.
And so when you point out, I was like, hey man, that's not your fault that she's that way. That's her family did that to her. You've tried talking to her, you've told her what your standards are, and she refuses to comply. She just keeps doing it to you over and over. And so her actions tell you that that's not going to change. And so your choices, you put up with it and stay, and understand that about once a month you're going to lose a week,
Right.
where she's going to be pissed off about something. It's
That's
like, if you want to live
annoying.
that way, hey, that's not
Yeah.
whatever, dude. I wouldn't, but if that's what you want to do, or the other option is to end it and only date women that have been easygoing, easy to get along with, like he has in the past.
Hmm.
And so he's seen both. But the other women that were more easygoing, easy to get along with, he wasn't as physically into as
Yeah.
they were. So it's hard when you really care about somebody, your emotions, it's like you bend reality. You bend the truth is right there in front of you. Everybody else can see it,
Right.
but you bend it
Hmm.
to fit your narrative. And then you
Right.
completely ignore the reality doesn't match.
Yeah.
Even though your friends and family can see it, you will refuse to see it, what's right in front of you. Because
Yeah.
your emotions cause you to ignore that, and then your brain makes the excuses.
Mm. What was his final decision?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard from
Oh.
him, but judging by where he was, it's like he had total peace with it. So he's just gonna let her be because they're not together anymore.
Oh.
But she'll probably be back in a few weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like the way she's operating. She's got some attachment issues, so she's gonna stay away a lot longer.
Hmm.
And so I said, probably in 2-3 weeks, you'll probably hear from her. And I
Or
was
that.
like, if you're crazy enough
Yeah.
to hang out with her again, it's like I would never get serious with her, and you should tell her that. It's like,
Yeah.
unless your behavior changes, I'm not going to get serious with it, but we can still hook up, be friends with benefits.
Hmm.
But I'm going to date other people. You do whatever you want.
Right. She probably. That's probably like her form of attention seeking as well. She probably likes feeling like someone's constantly chasing after her. Makes her feel
Well,
like.
it's a dysfunctional way to fulfill your need for love and connection.
Yeah.
And some people, if they learn to get, like growing up, my little brother, the way to get attention from my parents, because they were just mostly doing their own thing, and we were kind of like roommates, it seemed like,
Hmm.
was to start shit with me, to come up and, I'd be sitting at our desk doing my homework, and he'd come up and he'd punch me in the shoulder, and he'd be like, come on, man, hit me right here. Come on, man. And I was like, leave me alone, I'm studying, I got to do my homework. And he,
Hmm.
boom, he'd hit me again. And each time he would do it, he'd hit me a little harder.
Harder.
And eventually, he would be so obnoxious and hit me so hard that I would look at him and he'd be like, yeah, come on. And I would hit him too hard. And
Yeah.
he'd go, ow, man, that hurt. And then he would go, "Ah." and he'd go crying to my parents, and then my dad would come in there, and he'd already have a few beers in him at that point and smack me around because he got bullied by his older brother.
Yeah.
So my dad presupposed that I was bullying my little brother because he got
Wow.
bullied.
Yeah.
And he's littler than you. I was like, he started, I don't care.
Aw.
So it was that was how my brother got attention, because otherwise they didn't really pay attention. So it was
Right.
dysfunctional, it was fucked up.
Yeah.
And so my brother would get mad that I didn't want to hang out with him. I was like, because that was the kind of shit you were doing to get attention. It's like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with you means usually ends up with me getting my ass kicked by our father.
Right.
And so when I wanted to go out and hang out and he wanted to tag along, I was like, no, go hang out with your own friends.
Right.
Because if I do something and he's like, ooh, I can use this, I can tell on Corey and get him in trouble, and mom and dad will pay attention to me.
What was the age difference?
3 years.
Oh, not a big difference.
But, and that was a prime example of somebody fulfilling their need for love and connection by, in essence, starting a fight with their older brother
Yeah.
that would lead to him getting punched too hard. So he'd go to mom and dad, really dad, to complain, and then I'd get my ass handed to me. And so it's like, that's one of the reasons why we weren't very close. Stupid shit like that.
Mm.
But a woman that grows up in a family where there's just constant drama, constant fighting, constant not getting along, that's what she's used to. That's what she expects.
Yeah.
So when she goes out with a guy that has his shit together, that's not normal to her. She'll fuck it up on purpose
Mm-hmm.
just because that feels normal. Shit
Yeah.
being fucked up.